everyone and welcome to today's video. What are we going to be playing on the channel today? As you can see, we will be playing some Gruul Historic, but before I get into that, I want to apologize for my Azorius Control video 2 days ago. I only noticed today that the footage of that video was locked at 720p, which meant that the entire footage was kind of cropped weirdly in the middle of the video. It's my fault. I didn't check the video after encoding to see if everything is in order, because I'm so used to everything kind of working out the way that I program it, but I didn't know that OBS on my new computer was recording at a lower resolution. But I will just have to redo that video, record some new footage, and I will upload the Azorius deck sometime this week or the week after again, maybe with a couple of tweaks, even updating it for a best of 3 setting, since that deck was for best of 1 after all. But for today, also my Gruul standard deck is delayed then, because the footage of that deck was also locked at 720p and I just don't want that low resolution on the channel. I'm sorry, but I do have a little bit of a standard in that regard. So instead, I will be playing this Gruul Historic deck right here. You may be wondering, why am I doing Gruul Historic? Well, the Arena Day Open event is gonna be on Magic Arena on August the 1st, and this time around it's not a standard event, but instead it's gonna be a historic event. On top of that, it seems that the Mythic Invitational is also gonna be historic, so I figured there might be a couple of people out there that are quite interested in finding a good deck to play during that event or even during the Invitational. Gruul is very strong in Historic right now because of Burning-Tree Emissary right here. This allows you to pretty much put an extra body onto the field very early, which makes aggro plans extremely consistent. Also, compared to standard, as you may know, Gruul in standard is kind of a meme. It only has like a win rate of, I believe, 46% at the moment in both best of 1 and best of 3. And the reason for that is that the land base is very dependent on getting either a double green for Questing Beast or a double red for Embercleave. And that's not really possible if you're in a format where the only untapped source for red and green right now is Stomping Ground. So that's why in standard Gruul cannot really get off its feet as well as it used to in standard before Throne Drain was released. So that issue is not present in Historic though, because we have 4 copies of Rootbound Crag in this particular format, and Rootbound Crag itself is usually enough to make sure that we do hit that double green or double red when needed. So yeah, that's what makes Gruul so strong in that particular format, as you will be seeing today in the footage. But with that said, what this deck wants to do, it's a very 1, 2, 3, 4 strategy. You want to put your 1 drops on turn 1, your 2 drops on turn 2. Burning-Tree Emissary even produces a red and green mana, which allows you to put a third party onto the field in the same turn, or even use a Domri's Ambush on the same turn, or a Stomp. And this is just extremely strong because this deck curves out really well and it has some big bodies onto the field very early. It has Questing Beast as early as turn 3 if you have a Llanowar Elves on the field, which helps to attack in. It goes over creatures with power 2 or less, and on top of that it has Vigilance, so it's also a very solid blocker. And it has Death Touch, so if the opponent does choose to block this thing, their creature will usually die as well. So I think overall this deck is very solid in both best of 1 and best of 3. The sideboard is already fixed, as you can see. We have some red cap melees for Rectors and red matchups, Cindervines in case we are up against matchups that either cast a lot of non-creature spells, or they have things like artifacts and enchantment on the field, like Elspeth Conquers Death. This thing can deal with that rather easily. Goblin Ruin Blaster. This one is here to get rid of special lands, so if you are up against a deck that really cares about the lands you have on the field, the Goblin Rune Blaster is going to give you a very good time against those type of matchups. We have Lovestruck Beast, because a 5/5 body is just extremely strong against creature-based matchup to have a big beefy blocker on the field that can also attack in if your 1/1 token does survive. And it kind of functions like a 1-drop, so Lovestruck Beast can easily take a slot of the Llanowar Elves if you are up against a mono red deck, for example, that tends to shock the elf off the field. And finally, we have 2 Shifting Ceratops for pretty much any blue matchup. Teferi cannot handle this particular thing. Teferi 5 can also not tuck this one back into the deck, so it's just all around good. I think this deck, if you play this, you will have decent win rates with it. I think you'll have a lot of fun with it, and I haven't recorded, as of making this introduction, I haven't recorded the footage yet, but I've played Historic Gruul so much that I have a lot of confidence in this particular deck, and this might be the one that I will try to play on the Arena Day Open event if I get the chance to attend, because, well, Gruul is just very strong, and I know some of my subscribers here are big Gruul fans, so let's go have some Gruul fun, and let's see how far we can get with this particular deck. So see you soon in the Alright, here we go. We're up against Kugane as you're playing our Gruul Historic deck today, and let's see how far we can get. And let's have a look at this hand. We don't have a 1-drop, but we do have some very solid mana fixing right here. We have some removal for turn 2. We can put a Burning-Tree Emissary onto the field, followed by a Domri's Ambush. We do get to go second, but I think this is a keep. Let's see, we're up against a Yorion deck, so I think we are in a good spot. This deck performs rather well against control decks in general, so let's go with the Burning-Tree Emissary into the Scavenging Ooze and pass the turn. Next turn we can start putting the Gruul Spellbreaker down. There is a high chance that there will be a Teferi coming down this turn, which will bounce one of these things, but it doesn't look like the opponent has an answer yet. In that case, we are likely going to see a Shatter the Sky next turn, so I'm kind of wondering if it's worth it to overextend right there and put even more stuff onto the field. Maybe I should just shock their face instead and go in with only these creatures, so when they do use their board wipe we don't lose too many resources. So let's see what they are gonna do next. Tyrant Scorn, that does tell me they don't have a board wipe. In that case I will wait with the stump, use this during their turn, and then the turn after I will start putting the Gruul Spellbreaker down anyways. Hostage Taker, that's a bit unfortunate. Let's see what they take the Burning-Tree Emissary. I could stomp the Burning-Tree Emissary, or I could double Bonecrusher Giant onto this thing. I think I will just let them keep the Emissary for the time being. My turn, a land would be... we didn't get a land, but we don't have enough to even Domri's Ambush. That's a bit annoying. Let's put the Bonecrusher Giant down now then. Elspeth Conquers Death, so they are not playing the Burning-Tree Emissary just yet, and we are again missing a land. Sometimes things really don't work out, but oh well. Let's haste this one in and just go in. Put them down to 9 and move to the next turn. If for some, that's a shame. I was going to say, if for some miraculous reason they don't cast the Burning-Tree Emissary and we do draw into a land, we could have Domri's ambushed there, but that's not really an option anymore. They might put the Yorion into the hand here. Instead they are tapping for much for 5 mana. What are they playing? Fairy, alright, and what else?
No, I am not making this up as I go.
Still have 2 mana available to them, but they don't use it. I don't understand why they didn't attack in with the hostage taker right there. I feel that would have been a viable game plan right there, but they must have their reason. So instead, let's put the Llanowar Elves down, and I will play the Gruul Spellbreaker with a +1 counter. I'm not gonna kill anything here because the Elf Conquest Dev is just gonna bring it back to the field. Instead I put the Gruul Spellbreaker with the +1/+1 counter onto the field right there. Let's see what the opponent's gonna do next. If they don't remove anything, but they do, we could have Embercleave there, but unfortunately that's not an option right now, so instead I'm gonna try to stomp the Teferi, so the Teferi is off the field, and now we have 3 mana available to us, so this is a good moment to put the Bonecrusher Giant down. I think soon I can also put the Scavenging Ooze onto the field and start eating stuff from the graveyard. Okay, so they have mana open for a to counter an Embercleave. I will attack in and see how they block. They triple block there. That has me believe they don't really have an answer for an Embercleave right now, so in that case let's Embercleave now, put it on the Bonecrusher Giant and get rid of all the stuff. Likely seeing a board wipe this turn, but hopefully we will be able to rebuild. They are down to 4 health now as well, so that's kind of useful. And let's see what they bounce. They bounce the Bonecrusher Giant. That's... well, in that case we probably have a game here, don't we? Okay, they decide to scoop it, but I think this kind of showcased the power of how strong Gruul can be in Historic. I know we're in the best of 1 setting right now, but in best of 3 it can also perform really well. Let's move on to another game and see if we can get a couple more wins today. Okay, we have our next opponent called Craig. Let's see what Craig is playing and see if we can have some fun today. And let's see, we have very solid players. I will keep it. So next turn I can Pelt Collector into the Burning-Tree Emissary. Should I put the Pelt Collector down first? Probably not. Let's go with the Elf. It would be nice if I can find another 2-drop this coming turn. That's solid, so let's put the Pelt Collector down into the Burning-Tree Emissary like so. And now I can Domri's ambush onto the Pelt Collector of theirs. Get rid of that thing, and yeah, we have a solid board state now. We need another red source, and maybe I should have played this turn and shocked it in, but since we are up against an aggro deck, I am not a fan of shocking stuff in. They put a Llanowar Elves down and we do find a red source. That makes me a bit regret not shocking that in last turn. But we've already committed to the board, so might as well keep on going in. Maybe they will block our Llanowar Elves, which will put them down by 1 mana. That's good, because they don't know that we are actually holding up another mountain in our hand right now. put the Burning-Tree Emissary onto the field. And what else? A Gruul Spellbreaker, that's fine. Okay, so I could Domri's ambush here, but I think the Embercleave play is probably the best play right here. They block there and there. I don't mind trading these two, so let's put the Embercleave down. Get rid of the Gruul Spellbreaker. And they decide to call it. That's fine. We were quite ahead of them in terms of resources and the way the flow of the game was right there, so I'll take it. Let's move on to another game and see if we can have some more fun with Gruul. And I will keep this hand since we have a turn 2 Gruul Spellbreaker, but maybe I will put the Pelt Collectors down. I think putting the Pelt Collectors down is likely the better play next turn, since they do get buffed by that Gruul Spellbreaker over there. And Sukajujujua has played the Zagut Triome, and now we get to knock this in, put this down, and Pelt Collector down, attack in with the Llanowar Elf. I could even Embercleave next turn, since they do have blue mana sources, that way I can deny them counterspelling this, so yeah, let's do that. Let's go put those into the field and put the Embercleave down now, so at least this doesn't get countered in future plays. Elvish Rejuvenator is not that scary. I guess I will put the Gruul Spellbreaker down with haste. Do I shock this? Probably not, so... yeah, let's do this. I can with everything. Except the Llanowar Elves, since I can thump with that one. They are down to 4 life now. If they shotgun a land, I will stomp and close out the game. So let's see if Setri is ready to shock something in. How do you pronounce this name? I have no idea. How do you even make this name? Did they face roll over the keyboard, or what happened here? They did not shock it in. That's a shame. I would have loved if they shocked it in and then I stomped them in the face. But instead, Mr. Teferi comes down, so I guess this is a good moment to use that shock now. Does go through, and I think that's game. I don't know what they can do with 2 mana that can help them to win the game here. They growth spiral and they're probably gonna concede right after this. Yeah, there they go. So we won this game against, what was this? Sultai Ram, I believe. Yeah, so yeah, we did quite solid there. Let's move on to another game. It's time for the next game, up against Darkened. Let's see what Darkened is playing and we can win this game. We have a turn 1 and a turn 2, actually a double turn 2 play. This hand is really good. I will keep this. So let's put the Pelt Collector down and pass the turn. They put down a forest, but they didn't have a play, so we're up against either a Gruul deck. Okay, so it's a Gruul deck. Drop of the Ridge is not too scary. They are free to get something off the top. They kind of help us there by putting a land away. Oh, we have our own Robber of the Ridge. Maybe I will go with this. Yeah, a shame that this thing cannot grow more with this Robber as well. Put that one onto the field. And go in, steal something of theirs, and we help them as well with the land. Well, we helped them. Maybe they are mana screwed. They are not. They are not mana screwed, unfortunately. Domri's ambush is fine, and anything else? No, that's everything they're gonna do right now. Let's think. Yeah, so I cannot attack in just yet. I can attack in next turn if they don't clear the board. So what I will do is I'll put this on the field. Empty Scavenging Ooze. And no attacks. We might be seeing a questing piece coming down now. Instead we see a Gruul Spellbreaker. And they are not attacking in, so that's quite convenient for us. Let's see, we have one thing in the graveyard here. I think that I will attack in with everything. Yes, next. See how they block. Okay, so they block the Pelt Collector. Not ideal, is it? And let's see. So I can save the Burning-Tree Emissary here. It's probably the better thing to do. Yeah, let's save that Emissary here. And activate the Ooze, get rid of our Robber of the Rich. Okay, so we got them down a bit. Now we can get rid of their Robber of the Rich. Throw the Ooze some more, and hopefully if they do not remove the Ooze, we can likely go in for the win next turn. Galia comes down. Anything else? And they done this ambush, so they did remove the Scavenging Ooze right there, which is a bit sad, but oh well, it happens. So instead I will do this, get rid of the Galia first, and put the Bonecrusher Giant down. I will attack in with the Burning-Tree Emissary. If the opponent wants to block that, I'm fine with that. They do block, and that means that next turn I can put the Embercleave on the Bonecrusher Giant and hopefully go in for a win. No, I'm not gonna block that. Let's take that 4 damage right there. And they are in a very sad spot now because they have to block the Bonecrusher Giant or lose the game. They realized that, and we still had a stump in hand to... Would we have been able to close off the game right there? So 5 damage would have gone on... 4 damage on the questing beast, 1 to the face, so that is 7. Plus 5 is... Yeah, they would have been pretty much dead with the stump, so... We won there, let's go on to the next game. Alright, and we're up against Mancia. I think this is gonna be my last game for today with this particular deck, so I can go into recording some other footage after this. And these are both tapped sources. That's a bit annoying. I think I will... If I keep it... I will keep it and hope I can find a land on top with the Temple of Abandon. If I find a land with this, this is a pretty decent hand actually. The opponent is still doing the mulligan, so there we go. Put this down and pray for some kind of land. Okay, a forest, a mountain. I mean, a mountain is good. Pelt Collector comes down. Should I shock that? Should I stump this now or wait? I'll do it like this. I will put the Ooze down this turn. And hopefully they play a 2-drop. And if they do, Okay, they play another Pelt Collector. I see, I see. Let's attack in and see if they want to trade. They do not want to trade. Okay then, so in that case we get rid of one Pelt Collector. And we eat that Pelt Collector. Now we have the Burning-Tree Ooze, so let's see what they play next. The Burning-Tree Emissary into a Gruul Spellbreaker, I suppose. Yeah, there we go. And they decide to start attacking in. That's probably a wise decision. So... can I get the Scavenging Ooze high enough to not die to the Gruul Spellbreaker? Probably not, so instead I will go with the Questing Beast. Again, force them to block that. There we go, so we have 2 more resources in the graveyard, and we have the Scavenging Ooze as a blocker for that Burning-Tree Emissary over there. They could Embercleave this turn if they wanted to. The thing is, if I block here, they're gonna Embercleave and kill my Ooze anyway, so I don't want that to happen. Oh, they didn't have Embercleave, I see. Right then, alright then, so instead we get to get rid of this thing. Yes. That's smart, but that's fine. So they have 1 card left in hand. If that's an Embercleave, they cannot use it next turn unless they find a land source. So instead I'm gonna start getting rid of stuff in their graveyard and throwing the Ooze to a 5/5. I think attacking in is the right thing to do here, simply because even if they Embercleave the Pelt Collector, they are unable to kill me this next turn. Domri's Ambush, fair enough. And Bonecrusher Giant. And we got our own Domri's Ambush now. They put us down quite a bit though. So I will put Llanowar Elves down along with the Bonecrusher Giant. And my game plan is that this turn I can block their Giant. Hopefully they don't have an Embercleave, so I can live 1 more turn. But there's our Embercleave, so let's put this big guy down. Domri's Ambush to remove their Pelt Collector. And do we have what it takes to close out this game? Put the Goblin down. I mean, they have to block here, right? So... let's just go in and see what they do. They block there, okay, GG opponent, so put the Embercleave onto the Spellbreaker, and we win the game there. The thing that I was afraid of there, why I hesitated there a second, is if, like, imagine they block the Gruul Spellbreaker, we would still be able to Embercleave and the Gruul Spellbreaker wouldn't die. However, that would mean that they would survive that turn. And if they did survive and they somehow top-decked a Questing Beast, attacked them with the Questing Beast, we would have lost that game right there. But either way, they did not have it, or maybe they did have a Questing Beast in hand, but they they thought we wouldn't have the Embercleave right there, so regardless, we were able to win that game right there. And I think this kind of showcased how well Gruul functions in Historic right now, especially in Best of 1. If you want to, I can even upload some Best of 3 footage. Personally, I like playing this deck in Best of 3 because it gives a little bit more versatility with all the sideboard options, but if you are a Best of 1 player, do give this a try. I also noticed that a lot of players are kind of wanting to stay in Standard, but if you take a good look at my list, I will go to the list a second and show you before I continue talking about it. So basically, this is the list that I played today, and if you look at this list, like all these things, most of it is Standard legal right now. And this deck could also function quite decently in Standard, however with a much lower win rate because of the mana issues. But Questing Beast is in Standard, this is in Standard, this as well, this as well. And the only thing that isn't in Standard is the Burning-Tree Emissary, but you can replace that with Gallia of the Endless Dance right there. And Llanowar Elves is also not in Standard right now, but you can put either a Gilded Goose in its spot, this one, and if you want to save the rare wildcards, a Brazen, no, not a Brazen Borrower, a Boreal Grazer is also a very good replacement option for the Llanowar Elves right there. So this deck can actually do quite well in a Standard setting. I do play Gruul in Standard as well. This is my personal build that I like to play in Standard. I put Garruk's Harbinger and Garruk Unleashed in here. Garruk Unleashed is not a must, but I like this card. I'm kind of playing around with it right now. And Jump Razor is just very solid in Standard right now as well, so you can also find some spots to put this in there instead of the Gallias. I personally took the Gallias out, but I might put them back in. So yeah, even what I'm trying to say is if you're a Standard player and you do invest your wildcards into a Historic deck, Historic Gruul deck, your wildcards don't go wasted, so you can always just invest a little bit more and have the same deck also ready to play in Standard as well. So that's all from me for today. I hope you enjoyed today's deck and I hope you enjoyed today's footage. If there's a particular deck you want me to play, and since I am slowly running out of things to do on the channel, like I've done all the viewer requests so far, I do need to re-record that Azorius deck like I mentioned at the beginning of the video. But if there's a particular deck you want to see built or you want to see it in action, feel free to leave a comment down below and I will look into it and play that on the channel so you can have a look for yourself how that functions. With that said, thank you for watching, and I'm really happy with all the support I'm getting on this channel. We're slowly heading to 400 subs now, so the community is growing and that's quite nice. If you haven't checked out the Discord yet, please check down below in the description. There is a link to come join our Discord where you can talk with myself and the other members of the community. And see you tomorrow with another Magic the Gathering video. Take care.